Hi guys, I'm back. Today it's the 26th of April 2021. Today I'm going to read Matthew 21 to 25, Proverbs 26, and Psalm 118. Let's get started. As they all approached Jerusalem, they came to Bethphage. It was on the Mount of Olives. Jesus sent out 2 disciples. He said to them, "Go to the village ahead of you. As soon as you get there, you'll find a donkey tied up. Her colt will be with her. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, say that the Lord needs them. The owner will send them right away." This took place so that what was spoken through the prophet would come true. It says, "Say to the city of Zion, see, your king comes to you. He is gentle and riding on a donkey. He is riding on a donkey's colt." The disciples went and did what Jesus told them to do. They brought the donkey and the colt. They placed their coats for Jesus to sit on. A very large crowd spread their coats on the road. Others cut branches from trees and spread them on the road. Some of the people went ahead of him, and some followed. They all shouted, "Hosanna to the Son of David! Blessed is the Son who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna in the highest heaven!" When Jesus entered Jerusalem, the whole city was stirred. The people asked, "Who is this?" The crowd answered, "This is Jesus. He is the prophet from Nazareth in Galilee." Jesus entered the temple courtyard. He began to drive out all those who were buying and selling there. He turned over the tables of the people who were exchanging money. He also turned over the benches of those who were selling doves. He said to them, "It is written that the Lord said, 'My house will be called a house where people can pray,' but you are making it a den for robbers." Blind people and those who were disabled came to Jesus at the temple. There he healed them, and the chief priests and the teachers of the law saw the wonderful things he did. He also saw the children in the temple courtyard shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David." When they saw all of this, they became angry. "Do you hear what these children are saying?" they asked him. "Yes," replied Jesus. "Have you ever read about it in Scripture? It says, 'Lord, you have made sure that children and infants praise you.'" Then Jesus left the temple and went out of the city to Bethany. He spent the night there. Early in the morning, Jesus was on his way back to Jerusalem. He was hungry. He saw a fig tree by the road. He went up to it, but found nothing on it except leaves. Then he said to it, "May you never bear fruit again." Right away the tree dried up. When the disciples saw this, they were amazed. "Why did the fig tree dry up so quickly?" they asked. Jesus replied, "But I'm about to tell you the truth. Must have faith and not doubt. Then you can do what was done to the fig tree. And you can say to this mountain, 'Go and throw yourself into the sea.' It will be done. If you believe, you'll receive what you ask for when you pray." Jesus entered the temple courtyard. While he was teaching there, the chief priests and the elders of the people came to him. "By what authority are you doing these things?" they asked. "Who gave you this authority?" Jesus replied, "I will ask you the one question. If you answer me, I will tell you by what authority I am doing these things. Where did John's baptism come from? Was it from heaven, or did it come from human authority?" They talked to one another about it. They said, "If we say from heaven," he'll ask, "then why didn't you believe it? What if we say from human authority? We are afraid of the people. Everyone believes that John was a prophet." So they answered Jesus, "We don't know." Jesus said, "Then I won't tell you by what authority I am doing these things either. What do you think about this? A man had 2 sons. He went to the first and said, 'Son, go and work today in the vineyard.' 'I will not,' the son answered. But later he changed his mind and went. Then the father went to the other son. He said the same thing. The son answered, 'I will, sir,' but he did not go. Which of the 2 sons did what his father wanted?" "The first," they answered. Jesus said to them, "What I'm about to tell you is true. Tax collectors and prostitutes will enter the kingdom of God ahead of you. John came to show you the right way to live, and you did not believe him, but the tax collectors and the prostitutes did. You saw this, but even then you did not turn away from your sins and believe him." Listen to another story. A man who owned some land around planted a vineyard. He put a wall around. He dug a pit for a wine press in. He also built a lookout tower, and he rented the vineyard out to some farmers. And then he moved to another place. When harvest time approached, he sent his slaves to the renters. He told the slaves to collect his share of the fruit, but the renters grabbed his slaves. They beat one of them. They killed another. They threw stones at the third to kill him. Then the man sent other slaves to the renters. He sent more than them the same way. He said more than he did the first time. The renters treated them the same way. Last of all, he sent his son to them. They will respect my son, he said. But the renters saw the son coming. They said to one another, "This is the one who will receive all the owner's property someday. Come, let's come. Then everything will be ours." So they took him and threw him out of the vineyard. Then they killed him. When the owner of the vineyard comes back, what will he do to those renters? He will destroy those evil people. They replied. Then he will rent the vineyard out to other renters. He will give them his share of it, the crop at harvest time. Jesus said to them, "Haven't you ever read what the scriptures say? The stone the builders stood aside has become the most important stone of all. The Lord has done it. Isn't it wonderful in our eyes?" So here's what I tell you. The kingdom of God will be taken away from you. It will be given to people who will produce its fruit. Anyone who falls on that stone will be broken to pieces, but the stone will crush anyone who falls on. The chief priests and the Pharisees heard Jesus' stories. They knew he was talking about them, so they looked for a way to arrest him, but they were afraid of the crowd. The people believed that Jesus was a prophet. Jesus told them more stories. He said, "Here's what the kingdom of heaven is like. A king prepared a wedding dinner for his son. He sent slaves to those who had been invited to the dinner. The slaves told them to come, but they refused. Then he sent some more slaves. He said, "Tell those who were invited that I have prepared my dinner. I have killed my oxen and my fattest cattle. Everything is ready. Come to the wedding dinner." But the people paid no attention. One went away to his field, another went away to his business. The rest grabbed his slaves. They treated them badly and then killed them. The king became very angry. He sent his army to destroy them. They killed those murderers and burned their city. Then the king said to his slaves, "The wedding dinner is ready, but those I invited who were not fit to come. So go to the street corners, invite to the dinner anyone you can find." And so the slaves went out into the streets. They gathered all the people they could find, the bad as well as the good. Soon the wedding hall was filled with guests. The king came in to see the guests. He noticed the man who was there, who was not wearing wedding clothes. "Friend," he asked, "how did you get in here without wedding clothes?" The man couldn't think of anything to say. Then the king told his slaves, "Tie up his hands and feet, throw him outside into the darkness. Out there people will weep and grind their teeth. Many are invited, but few are chosen." The Pharisees went out. They made plans to trap Jesus with his own words. They sent their followers too. They sent the Herodians with them. "Teacher," they said, "we know that you are a man of honor. You teach the way of God truthfully. You don't let others tell everyone how they are. Tell us, what do you think? Is it right to pay a royal tax to Caesar or not?" But Jesus knew this evil heart. He said, "You pretenders, why are you trying to trap me? Show me the coin people use for paying the tax." They brought him a silver coin. He asked them, "Whose picture is in this, and whose was?" "Caesar's," they replied. Then he said to them, "So give back to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give back to God what belongs to God." When they heard him, they were amazed. So they left him and went away. That same day, the Sadducees came to Jesus with a question. They do not believe that the people rise from the dead. "Teacher," they said, "here's what Moses told us. If a man dies without having children, his brother must get married to the widow. He must provide children to carry on his brother's name. There were 7 brothers among us. The first one got married and died. Since he had no children, he left his wife to his brother. The same thing happened to the second and third brothers. It happened right on down to the 7th brother. Finally, the woman died. Now then, when the dead rise, whose wife will she be?" All 7 of them were married to her. Jesus replied, "You are mistaken, because you do not know the scriptures, and you do not know the power of God. When the dead rise, they won't get married, and their parents won't give them to be married. They will be like the angels in heaven." What about the dead rising? Haven't you read what God said to you? He said, "I am God of Abraham, I am the God of Isaac, and I am the God of Jacob." He is not the God of the dead. He is the God of the living. When the crowds heard this, they were amazed by what he taught. The Pharisees heard that the Sadducees weren't able to answer Jesus. So the Pharisees got together. One of them was an authority under the law. So he tested Jesus with a question. "Teacher," he asked, "which is the most important commandment in the law?" Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Love him with all your mind This is the first and most important commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Everything that is written in the law and the prophets is based on these two commandments. The Pharisees were gathered together. Jesus asked them, "What do you think about the Messiah? Whose son is he?" "The son of David," they replied. Then he said to them, "Why does David call him Lord? The Holy Spirit spoke through David himself. David said, 'The Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I put your enemies under your control.' So if David calls him Lord, how can he be David's son?" No one could give any answer to him. From that day on, no one dared to ask him any more questions. Jesus spoke to the crowds and to his disciples. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat, he said. So you must be careful to do everything they say. Don't do what they do. They don't practice what they preach. They tie up heavy loads that are hard to carry, and then they put them on other people's shoulders. But they themselves aren't willing to lift a finger to move them. Everything they do is done for others to see. On their foreheads and arms they wear little boxes that hold scripture verses, and they make their boxes very wide, and they make the tassels on their coats very long. They love to sit down in the places of honor at dinners. They also love to have the most important seats in the synagogue. They love to be greeted with respect in the markets. They love it when people call them Rabbi. But you shouldn't be called Rabbi. You have only one teacher, and you are all brothers. Do not call anyone on earth Father. You have one Father, and he is in heaven. You shouldn't be called teacher. You have one teacher, and he is the Messiah. The most important person among you will be your servant. People who lift themselves up will be made humble, and people who make themselves humble will be lifted up. And how terrible it will be for you, preachers of the law and Pharisees. You pretended. You shut the door of the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. You yourself do not enter, and you will not let those enter who are trying to. And how terrible for you, teachers of the law and Pharisees. You pretenders. You travel everywhere to win one person to your face. Then you make them twice as much of a child of hell as you are. How terrible for you, blind guys. You say, if anyone makes a promise in the name of the temple, it means nothing. It means nothing. And anyone who makes a promise in the name of the gold of the temple and keeps that promise. You are blind and foolish. Which is more important? Is it the gold or is it the temple? Or is it the temple that makes the gold holy? You also say, if anyone makes a promise in the name of the altar, it means nothing. But anyone who makes a promise in the name of the gift on the altar must keep that promise. You are blind. Which is more important? Is it the gift, or is it the altar that makes the gift holy? Or is it the altar that makes the gift holy? So anyone making a promise in the name of the altar makes the promise in the name of it and everything on it. And anyone making a promise in the name of the temple makes a promise in the name of it and the one who lives in it. And anyone making a promise in the name of heaven makes a promise in the name of God's throne and the one who sits on it. And terrible for you, teachers of the law and Pharisees. You pretenders, you've got a tenth of your spices, like mint, dill, and cumin, but you have not practiced the more important things of the law, which are fairness, mercy, and faithfulness. You should have practiced the last things without failing to do the first. You blind guides, you remove the smallest insect from your food, but you swallow a whole camel. Now terrible for you, teachers of the law and Pharisees. You pretenders, you clean the outside of a cup and dish, but on the inside you are full of greed. You only want to satisfy yourselves. Blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and dish, then the outside will also be clean. Now how terrible for you, teachers of the law and Pharisees. You pretenders, you are like tombs that are painted white. They look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside they are full of the bones of the dead. They are also full of other things that are not pure and clean. It is the same with you. On the outside you seem to be doing what is right, but on the inside you are full of what is not. You pretend to be what you are not. How terrible for you, teachers of the law and Pharisees. You pretenders, you build tombs for the prophets. You decorate the graves of the godly, and you say, if we had lived in the days of those who lived before us, we wouldn't have done what they did. We wouldn't have helped to kill the prophets. And so you admit that you are the children of those who murdered the prophets. So go ahead and finish the sins that those who live before we start. You nest of poisonous snakes. How will you escape from being sentenced to hell? And so I am sending you prophets, wise people, and teachers. You will kill some of them, and you will nail some to a cross. Others you will whip in your synagogues. You will chase them from town to town. You will pay for all the godly people's blood spilled on earth. I mean from the people of godly Abel to the blood of Zechariah, the son of Berechiah. Zechariah was the one you murdered between the temple and the altar. What I'm about to tell you is true. All this will happen to those who are now living. Jerusalem, Jerusalem. You kill the prophets and throw stones in order to kill those who are sent to you. Many times I have wanted to gather your people together. I have wanted to be like a hen who gathers her chicks under her wings, and you would not let me. Look, your house is left empty. I tell you, you will not see me again until you say, blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Jesus left the temple. He was walking away when his disciples came up to him. They wanted to call his attention to the temple buildings. Do you see all these things? And Jesus asked, what I'm about to tell you is true. Not one stone here will be left on top of another. Every stone will be thrown down. Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives. There the disciples came to him in private to ask, they said, when will this happen? And what will be the sign of your coming? What will be the sign of your end? Jesus answered, keep watch. Be careful that no one fools you. Many will come in my name. They will claim, I am the Messiah. They will fool many people. You will hear about wars. You will also hear of people talking about future wars. Don't be alarmed. Those things must happen, but the end still isn't here. Nation will fight against nation. The kingdom will fight against kingdom. People will go hungry. There will be earthquakes in many places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. Then people will hand you over to be treated badly and killed. All nations will hate you because of me. And at that time, many will turn away from their faith. They will hate each other. They will hand each other over to their enemies. Many false prophets will appear. They will fool many people. Because evil will grow, most people's love will grow cold. And the one who remains strong in the faith will be saved. This good news in the kingdom will be preached in the whole world. It will be a witness to all nations. Then the end will come. The prophet Daniel spoke about the hated thing that destroys. Someday you will see it standing in the holy place. The reader should understand this. And those who are in Judea should escape to the mountains. No one on the housetop should go down into the house to take anything out. No one in the field should go back to get their coat. How awful it will be in those days for pregnant women. How awful for nursing mothers. Pray that you will not have to escape in winter on the Sabbath day. There will be terrible suffering in those days. It will be worse than any other from the beginning of the world until now. And there will never be anything like it again. If the time had not been cut short, no one would live. But because of God's chosen people, it will be shortened. At that time, someone may say to you, look, here's the Messiah. No, there he is. Do not believe it. False messiahs and false prophets will appear. They will do great signs and miracles. They will try to fool God's chosen people if possible. See, I have told you ahead of time. So if anyone tells you, there's a long way out. Here's a long way out in the desert. Do not go out there. Or if anyone says, he is deep inside the house, do not believe it. Lightning that comes from the east can be seen in the west. It will be the same when the Son of Man comes. The vultures will gather wherever there is a dead body. Right after the terrible suffering of those days, the sun will be darkened. The moon will not shine. The stars will fall from the sky. The heavenly bodies will be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven. At that time, all the peoples of the earth will mourn. They will mourn when they see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven. He will come with power and great glory. He will send his angels with a loud trumpet call. He will gather his chosen people from all four directions. He will bring them from one end of the heavens to the other. Do not listen from the fig tree. As soon as its twigs get tender and its leaves come down, you know that summer is near. In the same way, when you see all these things happening, you know that the end is near. It is right at the door. What I'm about to tell you is true. There are people living now will suddenly not pass away until all these things have happened. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. No one knows about the day or hour, not even the angels in heaven. The Son does not know, only the Father knows. Remember how it was spoke in the days of Noah. It will be the same when the Son of Man comes. When in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking. They were getting married. They were giving their daughters to be married. They did all those things right up to the day Noah entered the ark. They knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. That is how it will be when the Son of Man comes. 2 men will be in the field. One will be taken and the other left. 2 women will be grinding with a hammer. One will be taken and the other left. So keep watch. You do not know on what day your Lord will come. You must understand something. Suppose the owner of the house knew what time of night the robber was coming. Then he would have kept watch. He would not have let his house be broken into. So you also must be ready. The Son of Man will come at an hour when you don't expect him. Suppose a master puts one of his slaves in charge of the other slaves in his house. The slave's job is to give them their food at the right time. The master wants a faithful and wise slave for all this. It will be good for the slave if the master finds him doing his job when the master returns. What I'm about to tell you is true. The master will put that slave in charge of everything he owns. But suppose that slave is you. Suppose he says to himself, my master is staying away for a long time. Suppose he begins to beat the other slaves. And suppose he eats and drinks with those who drink too much. The master of that slave will come back on a day the slave doesn't expect him. He will return at an hour the slave does not know. Then the master will cut him to pieces. He will send him to the place where pretenders go. There people will weep and grind their teeth. Here's what the kingdom of heaven will be like at that time. The 10 bridesmaids took their lamps and went out to meet the groom. 5 of them were foolish, 5 were wise. The foolish ones took their lamps but didn't take any olive oil with them. The wise ones took oil in jars along with their lamps. The groom did not come for a long time. Soon the bridesmaids all grew tired and fell asleep. At midnight someone cried, here's the groom, come out to meet him. Then all the bridesmaids woke up and got their lamps ready. The foolish one said to the wise one, give us some of your oil. Our lamps are going out. No, they replied, they may not be enough for all of us. Instead, go to those who sell oil, buy some for yourselves. So they went to buy the oil, but while they were on the way, the groom arrived. The bridesmaids who were ready went with him to the wedding too. Then the door was shut. Later the other bridesmaids also came. Sir, sir, they said, open the door for us. But he replied, what I'm about to tell you is true. I don't know, so keep watch. You do not know the day or hour that the groom will come. Again, here's what the kingdom of heaven will be like. A man was going on a journey. He sent for his slaves and put them in charge of his money. He gave 5 bags of gold to one. He gave 2 bags to another, and he gave 1 bag to the third. The man gave each slave the amount of money he knew the slave could take care of. Then he went on his journey. The slave who received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work. He had 5 bags more. The one with 2 bags of gold earned 2 more. That the man who had received 1 bag went and dug a hole in the ground. He had his master's money in it. After a long time, the master of those slaves returned. He wanted to collect all the money they had earned. The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5. Master, he said, you trusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I have earned 5 more. His master replied, you have done well, good and faithful slave. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. The man with 2 bags of gold rose again. Master, he said, you trusted me with 2 bags of gold. See, I have earned 2 more. His master replied, you have done well, good and faithful slave. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Then the man who had received 1 bag of gold came. Master, he said, I knew that you are a hard man. You harvest where you have not planted. You gather crops where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid. I went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here's what belongs to you. His master replied, you evil lazy slave. You knew that I harvest where I have not planted. You knew that I gather crops where I have not scattered seed. So well then, you should have put my money in the bank. When I returned, I would have received it back with interest. And his master commanded the other slave, take the bag of gold from him, give it to the one who has 10 bags. Everyone who has will be given more. They'll have more than enough. And what about anyone who doesn't have? Even what they have will be taken away from them. They heard that worthless slave outside. Then in the darkness people will weep and grind their teeth. The Son of Man will come in all his glory, and all the angels will come with him. Then he will sit in glory on his throne. All the nations will be gathered in front of him. He will separate the people into 2 groups. They will be like a shepherd who separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep to his right and the goats to his left. Then the king will speak to those on his right. He'll say, My Father has blessed you. Come and take what is yours. Here is the kingdom prepared for you since the world was created. I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, but you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you gave them to me. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. Then the people who have done what is right will answer, Lord, they'll ask, when did we see you hungry and feed you? When did we see you thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you as a stranger and invite you in? When did we see you needing clothes and give them to you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? The king will reply, What I'm about to tell you is true. Anything you did for one of the least important of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Then he will say to those on his left, You're accursed. Go away from me into the fire that burns forever. And it's been prepared for the devil and his angels. I was hungry, but you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty, but you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, but you did not invite me in. I needed clothes, but you did not give me any. I was sick and in prison, but you did not take care of me. They also will answer, Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty and not help you? When did we see you as a stranger or needing clothes or sick or in prison and not help you? He will reply, What I'm about to tell you is true. Anything you didn't do for one of the least important of these, you didn't do for me. Then they will go away to be punished forever. But those who have done what is right will receive eternal life. Proverbs 26. It isn't proper to honor a fortress. That's like having stone somewhere or rain in harvest time. Because given for no reason is like a wandering bird or a flying sparrow. It doesn't go anywhere. A whip is for a horse, and a harness for a donkey, and a beating is for the backs of horses. Don't answer a foolish person in keeping with their foolish act. If you do, you yourself will be just like them. Answer a foolish person in keeping with their foolish act. If you do not, they will be wise in their own eyes. Sending a message in the hand of a foolish person is like cutting off a feet or drinking blood. A proverb in the mouth of a foolish person is like disabled legs that are useless. Giving honor to a foolish person is like tying a stone in a slingshot. A proverb in the mouth of a foolish person is like a thorn in the hand of someone who's trying. Anyone who has a foolish person or someone who is passing by is like a person who shoots arrows at just anybody. Foolish people who do the same foolish things again are like a dog that returns the way it is thrown. Do you see a person who is wise in their own? There is more hope for a foolish person than for them. A person who doesn't want to work says, There's a lion everywhere. There's an angry lion wandering in the streets. And a person who doesn't want to work turns over in bed just like a door that swings back and forth. A person who doesn't want to work leaves his hand in his plate. He acts as if he is too tired to bring it back up to his back. A person who doesn't want to work is wise in his own eyes than some people who give careful answers. Don't be quick to get mixed up in someone else's way. That's like grabbing a stray dog by its ears. The place of crazy person shoots flaming arrows that can kill. Someone who lies to their neighbor and says, I was only joking, is just like that crazy person. If you don't have wood, your fire goes out. If you don't talk about others, arguing dies down. Coal goes and wood burns. And a person who argues stirs a conflict. The words of anyone who talks about others are like tasty bites of food. They go deep inside. Warm words that come from an evil heart are like a shiny coating on a clay pot. Enemies use their words as a mask. They hide their evil plans in their hearts. Even though what they say can be charming, don't believe them. That's because some things God hates fill that person's heart. Their hatred can be hidden by lies, but their evil plans will be shown to everyone. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. If someone rolls a big stone, it'll roll back on them. A person that tells lies hates the people it hurts, and words that seem to praise you destroy you. Psalm 118. Give thanks to the Lord, because he is good. His faithful love continues forever. Let the people of Israel say, His faithful love continues forever. Let the peace of Aaron say, His faithful love continues forever. Let those who have respect for the Lord say, His faithful love continues forever. When I was in great trouble, I cried out to the Lord. He answered me and set me free from my trouble. The Lord is with me. I will not be afraid. What can be human being do to me? The Lord is with me. He will save me. I win the battle over my enemies. It is better to go to the Lord for safety than to trust in me human beings. It is better to go to the Lord for safety than to trust in human leaders. The nations are all around me, but by the Lord's power I destroy them. They were around me on every side, but by the Lord's power I destroy them. They attacked me like swarms of bees, but they burned up as quickly as thorns in a fire. By the Lord's power I destroy them. I was pushed back and about to be killed. But the Lord helped me. The Lord gives me strength and makes me secure. He has saved me. Shouts of joy ring out in the tents of godly people. They praise him for his help in battle. They shout, The Lord's powerful right hand has done mighty things. The Lord's powerful right hand has won the battle. The Lord's powerful right hand has done mighty things. And I will not die but live. I'll talk about what the Lord has done. The Lord has really punished me, but he didn't let me die. Open for me the gates where the godly people can go in. I will enter there and give thanks to the Lord. This is the gate of the Lord. Only those who do what is right can go through it. And Lord, I will give thanks to you because you have answered me. You have seen. The stone the builder stood and set has become the most important stone of all. The Lord has done it. It is wonderful in our eyes. The Lord has done it on this day. Let us be joyful today and be glad. Lord, save us. Lord, give us success. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. From the temple of the Lord be blessed. The Lord is good. He has been good to us. Take furnaces in your hands. Join the march on the day of the feast. March up to the corners of the altar. You are my God, and I will praise you. You are my God, and I will honor you. Give thanks to the Lord because he is good. His faithful love continues forever. Now that's done, I should now do the Lord's Prayer. Lead to your heads. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.